Scott Horton. I believe I have pronounced the second name appropriately. He was on Joe Rogan Experience. I have never heard of this individual, but we can agree on some facts. What he spoke concerning the war in Iran is something which most individuals, more especially the individuals who are in the MAGA movements, need to come into terms with. We need to watch that clip, and then after which I am going to give my own thoughts concerning the issue.
Well, they're hitting all our bases. They've killed a couple of our guys, and they're hitting our runways and hitting our radars and hitting our planes. And we knew it then, right then. And I'm sorry, man, it's just true. Told you so. For 20 years, all of our assets in the Gulf are up for grabs. They can reach out and touch us there, and there ain't a damn thing that we can do about it.
I need to give the context of that clip. Joe Rogan had asked Scott whether he believes Donald Trump will go ahead and use a nuclear weapon against Iran. Scott replied that he doesn't believe, though not 100% convinced, that Donald Trump will go ahead and use a nuclear weapon against Iran. If Donald Trump is interested to wipe out all the leadership of the Iranian government, he must drop that bomb in Tehran, which means more than 10 million civilians are going to be wiped out in that nuclear disaster. We should not also forget the United States is the only country which has ever used a nuclear weapon against civilians. That's something which we should not forget. Now, let's go and discuss the main point of what that clip was talking about. Individuals in the Middle East even globally believed that the United States was this one military power which will not be conquered globally. Yes, they retained that power, but something was revealed after they went ahead and attacked Iran, that they are also capable or vulnerable to be attacked. The military bases which the United States had in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, all were dismantled by the Iranian strikes, and those strikes were so precise. So all those individuals who had this belief that the United States will go ahead and protect them in case of their enemies coming to attack them, all that bubble burst. It went bust. So that's why the likes of Qatar, the likes of Saudi Arabia, the likes of UAE are more cautious in the manner which they are going to approach, or in the manner which now they are dealing with Iran. Initially, every individual, including Iran, including the United States, including Saudi Arabia, China, Russia, all they had this belief that the United States is a military superpower and no pain, no injury, no destruction will be inflicted on their bases or in their or under their command. But since Donald Trump was on high, he had gone ahead and invaded Venezuela. He had taken out the, the Venezuelan president Nicolas Maduro successfully, and there was no revolution, there were no repercussions. Donald Trump thought that it would be nice to go ahead and do exactly that in Iran. He was convinced, he is not a young person, but he was convinced by Benjamin Netanyahu that the success which they had observed in Venezuela was the same experience which they were going to have when it comes to Iran and also the Iranian people. But one thing which you need to understand, immediately they went ahead and, and they made strikes in Iran. They had a mistake which they made. They went ahead and struck young kids. They deleted more than 160 kids. I don't believe a country which has nothing to lose, which the United States has put under sanctions for the last 47 years, was going to raise up their arms and fight against the government which now potentially wants to protect them. That was not going to happen. That's why Donald Trump is kind of frustrated because the idea, the notion which he was sold that what happened in Venezuela was what was supposed to happen in Iran or any country which Donald Trump dreams of under the planet, also even Greenland. That's not what exactly he is going through at this moment. Donald Trump has gone ahead, threatened, threatened the Iranian people that he is going to use a nuclear weapon. But the Iranian people, more especially the Iranian regime, has nothing to lose. They have been under sanction. They have tried their best in order at least to be seen reasonable. But the United States has always continued to be a bully. They, they signed an agreement under Barack Obama. Donald Trump was sworn in and he threw that agreement. The Iranian people or the Iranian government tried to be at least to observe those things which they had agreed. But Donald Trump, since he's a bully and he believes that every individual globally is going to bend the knee, he has found that's not what is going exactly to happen when it comes to the Iranian government. And also the likes of Joe Rogan are kind of now frustrated because this is not what they signed for. They didn't convince their followers that they were going to elect someone who is going to start a war, which is going to raise prices for the American people and also individuals globally. This is not what they convinced their audiences. They convinced their audiences that the president they are decided to support was an individual who was not going to start new wars, who was going to put America first, who was going to stop illegal immigration, who was going to ensure that individuals who are illegal, not even those individuals who are illegal, and also its own citizens who may not be accepting American first agenda should also be expelled from the American soil. Now, that seems to be not the case because, number one, there is no way Donald Trump and also the individuals, the billionaires who contributed to who contributed to his campaign are going to accept that Donald Trump expel individuals who provides cheap labor. That is not going to happen. If you are in the MAGA movement and you strongly believe that Donald Trump is going to be allowed by the shadow government to expel illegal immigrants, then you should wake up. Also, you need to realize that individuals, Donald Trump went to China and said he will allow foreign students to come to the American universities. How are those institutions going to operate without foreigners? That is something which most individuals need to take into consideration. No matter what your thoughts are, what your reasons are for supporting Donald Trump, but one of the things which you need to accept is that going ahead and invading Iran was a huge mistake. It has made him to look like a loser and probably is not going to accept that he has lost the war in Iran, which means probably he is going to ensure more individuals are being recruited and they go ground invasion. And as most individuals have said, it's going to be a disaster for the American people and also the whole globe. Anyway, what are your thoughts about Donald Trump going ahead and invading Iran? And also the likes of Joe Rogan and other individuals who embraced Donald Trump now realizing that Donald Trump is one of those individuals who should not be trusted even by Melania Trump. Subscribe, like, share. See you in my next one. Siku njema.